one.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to B-Tech Philosophers, episode 37, which is a number bond because 3 plus 7 equals 10. On the episode, we have obviously my co-host Elliot Steele, who's struggling with his chair at the moment. And we have a super special guest today as well, Bella Ho, comedian, actress, writer. Round of applause to Bella Ho in the building right now.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Are you an actress?
Yeah, let's say that.
Okay, that's good. That's
Why
good.
not?
That's one of those things everyone just adds to their
Yeah,
name
yeah,
on
you
Twitter.
gotta
innit?
add it,
Can't
you
disprove
know?
it.
I put writer, and I'm like, I write the jokes I tell. I
Yeah,
guess that makes me a writer.
And you act them as well.
I'm right. Actor, comedian, producer. Produce my own shows.
Yeah, you do. Traveller.
But, you taught me about number bonds.
Yeah, I did.
3 plus 7 equals 10.
Mm-hmm.
Is a number bond only when it adds equals 10?
I think so, and I only know that because I have to tutor small children for money.
Okay, so why are you teaching about number bonds?
Because it's what they have to know about in school. It's just a basic maths thing that once you have it down, you can do a lot of addition more easily.
What's it like teaching young children?
I love it because I love them. Which sounds, don't misconstrue it.
No, it's okay for you to love.
But
It's one of those weird double standards where we were to say that.
I love the tots, and I love to
How young are they?
teach them stuff. Yeah.
How young?
4. I've got one that's 4. I've got one that's 6, and I've got one that's 7 and one that's 8.
Oh shit! So
Those are like all the ages up to
All the
8.
ages, yeah.
Those are all the
The
ages.
8-year-old's a
No,
little
one
prick
doesn't.
sometimes, to be fair. He's just like discovered the social currency of being rude.
What kind of rude thing does he do? That thing where he goes in for a handshake and then they pull it away. Well, they do this.
Yeah, it's that. It's like getting like swords and shit.
Swords?
What?
Or just like go to his house and he'll just like suddenly decide that it's sword time. Like, and he'll put on his plastic chest of armor and his sword.
Which is made of plastic also.
Yeah, I suppose
Okay.
so. But it's suddenly not mass time anymore.
And he'll hit you with the sword.
Yeah, and it's really difficult to know the boundary between how much physical might can I impose upon this child that is probably stronger than me.
8 years old? You could be up an 8-year-old, Bella.
You'd be very
Believe in you.
surprised.
Should be able to beat up an 8-year-old. How many 8-year-olds do you reckon you could take in a fight?
At one time.
Let's say they're coming in
I
consecutively.
think Elliot could take 32.
32 8-year-olds. That's not bad going.
You have to just deck them one after the other.
If it's like the Power Rangers where, the bad guys, they just come
They're
one by
all
one.
coming at you at once.
What if they all morphed into one super 8-year-old though, like at the end of Power Rangers?
But then that's an
8-year-olds
adult man.
Also, you have to know that they have no moral compass at that age. They are not ashamed to use their teeth, their chin, their elbows in ways that you can't even imagine.
If it was just one 8-year-old after another and I just fighting them solo, I wouldn't put a quantity of it, but I would put like a time, like from 9 to 11.
Okay.
I could
2 hours straight up.
2 hours.
Like a boxer size class.
Yeah,
Hey
yeah,
guys,
yeah.
we're having stamping 8-year-old class today.
And I have to put them to the ground or I'm knocking them unconscious?
You have to kill. You have to go through the trauma.
I'm not him.
You are in a
Kill them with
traumatic.
just fists.
I'm just no, I'll knock them unconscious.
Damn.
Which brings me to one question I wanted to ask because we were talking about Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Elliot said Brazilian jiu-jitsu people are bad people.
I didn't say
He
that.
said they're
at all.
murderers.
Yeah. You said they all use religion as a mask.
Yeah, you said
I didn't say that about Brazilian jiu-jitsu people on the
Did I misquote you?
A little. I was saying that we were talking about the potentially one of our guests next week is probably one of the best grapplers in the world, right? And
Grappling is
martial arts and stuff. And
I thought grappling was like, struggling to come to terms with an issue.
like your sexuality.
that is what
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu is. You,
Yeah.
get, you get a black belt and then you go, maybe it would have just been easier
So
to
just to
admit
be
I'm
clear-
gay.
Elliot is saying all Brazilian jiu-jitsu artists are gay.
Oh, fucking yeah. they are.
Okay.
But no, there's like this thing where I was talking about like it's most gym owners I've known are very, so the place I train now, New Wave. Colin and Christian who run the place are very salt of the earth, very
Why
good
are you
people.
talking like that?
family-
Sorry.
what do you mean? No, I was just in my head thinking of the gym.
Okay.
Mark Goodridge, who I know, who runs a very good kickboxing gym in Croydon, is like a very religious person, family man, but sound as fuck. But I think some people use the fact you see it now with Andrew Tate. Like he just goes, I'm Christian, or you see him like learning how to pray to Islam and things like that.
Right.
They're just using that as the guide of, no, but I can't be a bad person because I'm religious. And it's like,
Historically, yeah.
that
not
doesn't
true.
necessarily, and I think people do that with. There was a fighter on the weekend, Darush, who won his fight on a UFC card that was in Abu Dhabi, and he's Iranian, so he went to do a speech about Iran, and then tried to not only convert everyone in Abu Dhabi to Christianity, but also the people in Iran who were fighting for their
The
freedom.
entire nation?
The entire nation. He was like, I don't know what the answer is, but I know he knows the answer is Jesus. And it's like, no, dude, the morality police beat a woman to death for not showing a headscarf. I don't think she should have gone, oh, it's fine. Jesus. That's a very
Yeah.
blanket statement to make.
Yeah, just that forcing religion on people is very. I was reading this terrible story. Is like in the New York Times or something. It's about this baby was.
This is a very erudite podcast so far, I have
Yeah.
to say.
What does erudite mean?
It means intellectual.
Oh, thank you.
In an elegant
Thank you.
way.
Thank you. Well, we shouldn't talk about MMA too much because I mistakenly invited Bella onto the podcast last week, and I told her to come onto it this week, and you took that. This is quite sweet. You took it quite literally.
Yeah, I did.
So when I said
When you said come next Monday at 4 p.m, I thought okay.
no,
But then on the phone yesterday you said, oh, I meant that as a figure of speech.
Whoa, hold on. So last week I mentioned Bella, we're recording that Monday at 4. You should come down, and she said, I'm not free. And I said, yeah, come next week. I didn't mean, you took that like literally next week,
What do you
same
think that
time.
says about me?
I think that it's very sweet because I feel like
It's very sweet.
we live in a generation where I don't leave the house until I have like confirmation
Yeah.
on the day
Yeah.
that the thing is happening.
Yes.
I need the confirmation day before.
It was quite trusting of me.
Very trusting. You just put that straight in your diary.
Yeah.
Monday 4, no questions.
Yeah. I was
No,
like, I'll
no
be
doubt.
there. Yeah.
We're doing this again, and I felt terrible because I wasn't there. I was in Morrison's. I was buying some shrimp.
I was here.
You was here.
Yeah, weird coincidence.
Weird coincidence.
Just by coincidence, Elliot was doing MMA podcast, which you jumped on.
Which I jumped on, yeah.
How'd that go?
I feel like I was sort of the I was like the elephant in the room for a lot of it. Do you know what I mean? As in, I was the thing that people were scared to discuss was also there, you know. But I did also feel extremely welcome.
Oh yeah, you were like, it's like at lunchtime there's a Dungeons and Dragons club, and you were the first ever woman to turn up
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
Dungeons
yeah.
and
You
Dragons
gave-
club.
That's how it
And
felt.
everyone was like, oh, the shame.
You gave Free Boys the opportunity to mansplain
Yeah,
a fight
yeah,
into you.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's his
And
name.
boy, did we take it.
I learnt a lot, but it was one of those weird situations where I realised the more I learnt, the more confused I became, because the more I learnt, the more I realised I had to learn.
That's knowledge.
Oh yeah,
You know?
Donna Kruger effect. Yeah.
But they say like all questions should only be the pathway to more questions.
Who says that? Who said that?
Who said that
Yeah,
specifically?
they say that. Who are they? Who are they?
They, yes, they, because
They?
that's their pronoun. That's I don't know what their name is, but they said it. But yeah, I think that's all questions should be the gateway to more questions. But the only reason I was asked about MMA is because we were talking about like brain injuries and stuff. Why are people with CTE bad people?
Because your brain gets shaken around when you get hit, so like the brain cells die. So I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
apparently part of the brain, like you get like the bits that are usually to do with like holding aggression and holding anger and stuff, like that goes, so you become a lot worse at that.
So it's like putting your brain on
impacts
shuffle.
the particular bit of the brain that is meant to make you a good person, and it just kills it.
Oh my goodness,
Have you ever met someone with CTE?
not to my knowledge.
Bro,
They don't really wear badges.
I remember after I had a Muay Thai interclub one time, I met this dude who was clearly CTE'd to fuck, because he would like speak, and he was like, yeah, you know, because well done on your first fight, man. He was like, I was like, I didn't do that well. He was like, I've had 60. I was like, yeah, and he just like anything was like, there's this sort of like energy and this angst that was there, and I remember being
They
like,
often find out like after someone's died, they do like an autopsy.
After
like
they've
they
killed
did
their
with
family.
Aaron
Yeah.
Hernandez,
Yeah.
after he'd killed like many different people.
Chris Benoit.
As a
I
wrestler,
don't know who that is.
wrestler killed
But I
his.
did make a noise as if.
Yeah, that was
Okay,
good.
that
No, that
was-
was.
yeah.
But then, like, it's not. You never hear good CT. It's always like, oh no, they killed everybody and then themselves. And
Yeah.
why does the good stuff never get shuffled to the forefront?
Well, what do you mean the good stuff?
Maybe
Oh, it's like, oh, he went on a charity rampage.
Yeah.
He couldn't stop donating to Great Ormond Street. Nobody ever brings that up about Chris Benoit.
Exactly. They just went on like a mad, just donating rampage. Never hear about that.
I've never done that, I have to say.
Just donated, just aggressively.
Yeah, no, I've never donated aggressively.
I've never donated.
Do you know what, sometimes just in the night you'll get on Instagram and it'll be like, give
Yeah.
to this fund.
And I think,
I'll give
okay.
£5.
Do you?
Yeah, or like if I'm in hospital visiting someone and there's a little thing to donate, like £3, I'll be like, all right.
I only do it because it goes in the spinny thing, in
Yeah.
the spinny box, and I get to watch my pounds.
Yeah,
spin.
yeah, yeah. Do the
But then I do want the
thing.
pound back.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
And sometimes you see like a £20 note in the spinny thing, and you could think, "What a twat! Who put that
Fucking
in?
what the
A
fuck?"
show off." Do you know what I mean?
I didn't
I don't
realise
wanna spin.
Roman Abramovich had come in. Yeah, I've never. I'm not like a big believer in charity.
Whoa, let's dissect that sentence.
Yeah.
Charity, I'm not a big believer in charity, the concept of it, because it exists. Right?
No, the concept of charity exists, yeah, but like I mean, a lot of the time with charity, so like you see when you go to Tesco or McDonald's, and it's like, would you like to round up the?
Oh well, that's
30p?
just for tax.
That's for tax. That's
Is it
and
though?
then- yeah.
Well, I've seen enough TikToks made by
Lucas, Google this, please.
17-year-olds.
Google it. Because is that
Yeah,
something
I
we
never
tell ourselves?
donate to like a McDonald's charity, but donating to like Macmillan
Okay.
is a different thing.
Yeah.
That's still got muck in it.
Yeah.
Like it could be.
But it's not the McDonald's charity. They're like, we're giving this money to
Something.
Just
but then
Aid
they're
or whatever,
doing
man.
that so that they can write off a lot of their expenses.
Yeah.
disgrace.
It's like it's the same with like, dude. When I walked outside of Vauxhall today, I went to Waitrose, innit, across the road,
Okay, I want to see why you going to Rachel's is important to this story.
because I just want people to know that I'm doing all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I only got a coffee from there. And I went to but on the walk there was 4 different sets of homeless people. But
Different
Sets.
sets.
yeah, there's different types of homeless, isn't there? Like there's different kind of homeless, isn't it?
Grade 1, grade 4.
There's like, oh, you're fucking homeless. Like
He had the fingerless gloves, really old school.
You know, like
Home Alone
yeah.
style.
like there's like, dude, like, all right, we get it.
Yeah.
Homeless, and then there's like, all right, you've not learned.
Homeless or hipster? You don't know.
Yeah. But then there's like mental health homeless, where
which
it's
is
like,
really sad.
which is sad
Very.
but terrifying
Yeah,
at
it
the
is,
same time.
It is because it's yeah, I don't know. I was talking to one of my friend's boyfriends the other day about when he drove down Skid Row in LA, which is like where the Cecil Hotel was.
Yeah.
You know that girl that like killed herself and they found her in the tanks?
Oh,
And everyone was drinking the water of her disintegrated body.
I know it's like tangy.
And it was like tangy and
Imagine if that's the
brown.
best water you ever had. It's like you kind of miss that. Like,
Human water.
it's like, it's got that twang to it.
Yeah.
That's sparkling
Apparently
water.
the like homelessness situation there is awful and also terrifying.
They got
I would
homeless
un-
families.
Yeah, I get it though, because I think if I had so few resources, I would also be acting in a lawless way.
Maybe they just need to watch a bit of Ray Mears or something.
Who the fuck is Ray Mears?
You like the outdoors guy and just get
Get
a
into
bit
it.
more
To
acclimatized.
watch a
Well, you know
motivational
what I think is
video.
like the nadir of middle class activity that somebody told me they did the other day? Foraging. Like for
Yeah.
fun? Like going out and foraging for berries. I don't know why it doesn't sit right with me.
Like, because they should save the berries for the homeless people?
No, I don't think that's how it works. But I just kind of, I just think there's something a bit like,
Right,
you know
like
what I mean about
people
like just
doing
stop. Just why are you telling me that?
people doing poor people stuff like as an
Yeah,
aesthetic.
exactly.
It's like poor face
Exactly,
when people
exactly.
do poor face, which is, you know,
What's poor face?
it's like when they
Charcoal, chimney sweep,
That's
and they're close to a new face as well when they do this.
Peru.
It's like poor face is a bit of chimney sweep vibe. You get away with it any more, and it's
stop
hey,
there.
hey,
Put the shoe polish down, sir. Put it down.
what? What would you do if a picture surfaced of me? There isn't one. But and I know I have
What
to
would you
clarify
do?
if a picture surfaced of me in blackface.
My instinct is that you would let your community down.
But you'd make my community very happy.
Do you know what? It would be an interesting position because I could make or break your career.
Yeah.
Like, because my okayness with it would like that's the straw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it is.
So I don't know. We would have to discuss it. It'd have to be a B-Tech exclusive on Patreon,
On Patreon. So yeah, they'd have to sign up to the Patreon.
and we'd put the image right
They
there.
have to pay £3.50 to hear Elliot apologising.
Yeah.
There'd be no apology. There would be I'm sorry that you guys misunderstood.
Sure,
We'd
okay.
put the image there, and then we'd blacken it up like the OJ picture back in the 90s, and then we'd just break it down, kind of like Sky Sports. I want to see your analysis on every part of the front. So I put the gold tooth in for authenticity. You know what I mean?
I have a deal with a mate of mine who's a comic, like comedian. I have a deal with him where I'm like, hey, look, if anything comes out with me, like I helped him out with some time. Like, if anything ever comes out with me, I just need you there, regardless of what it is. I'm like, no, I know him. He's a good man. Like,
Nah, I always think that like the more we come up in this industry, like we're gonna have friends who are gonna be taken down, and
Yeah, we are.
are we gonna support them?
depends what for. Like, I had it with fucking, I can't say their name.
Bleep it. Tell me.
I'll tell you afterwards.
It takes us a lot of time to bleep stuff.
It does.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole load of it. Yeah, and
Elliot, not me.
and yeah, and he fucking knows. He turned out to be a rapist. And yeah,
Do you know when somebody's telling a story and then there's just so much information missing, and then you just get
It's
there.
like long story short. It's like, how did we
Long story
arrive
short,
here?
the end. It's like, whoa, what's going on?
oh, we're only on an hour booking. Like, we got to cram as much.
Going straight to Act
And
3.
what did you do?
I
ties.
yeah, as a group of friends, like at first we were always going to cut ties. It was always going to be like that. We weren't ever defensive of any of
Yeah.
their actions, and but there is a bit that you go like, well, you cut ties with them, but you also have to make sure that they're in therapy and doing the things
Sure,
to
yeah,
probably
yeah.
because
Help
you
them.
can't just leave them. It's like if there's a dangerous dog, you can't just
Yeah.
go and leave that in the world.
We have to destroy the dog.
There's a really.
I was up for destroying the dog.
Yeah.
But
I
that-
read a really interesting book like years ago about cancel culture, and it was saying how like it's basically, you know how like in Game of Thrones they would get like naked people and like shout shame at them and write off people, and that's what we do with cancel culture, and it's actually really bad. But we think it's like an ethical high ground to be like, you were transphobic, you were this, therefore it's over for you. But you're basically writing off someone's entire life without
They're formed,
any
feeding their family, and
opportunity to rehabilitate themselves.
But I
just push the mic towards you a bit.
I think it's fair play. Let's say if like casual people are like, I'm done with this person.
Yeah,
But
of
then, you
course.
know, your friends and family, those are the ones who are supposed to sort of be there for you on your journey.
I'll give him a text then after this. So drop it.
And often these things are like come hand in hand with like substance abuse or like
I think that
tough
was
childhood or whatever. Because often like a lot of the people I know, I've known a couple of people who have gone on to like definitely sexually assault people, and like it's always alcohol and drugs
Yeah.
that's in the background, and they've always been abusing that, and then that blurs their judgment.
It's a really fucking difficult thing as well. But what you're saying on cancel culture there is really interesting because that is, you know, like John Ronson did that whole
Yeah,
series, You've
yeah,
Been
exactly.
Published Shamed, which
I read that.
is excellent.
That was a really good book.
Yeah,
No, I don't remember it. I just read it.
and
Good for us though. We all read it. We all read it.
I listened to it on Audible. I listened to about half of it.
You get the gist though. You get the gist.
But yeah, there is that, you know, and I think the thing with like when you look at these things, as it first starts, like when Me Too first happens and stuff, and it's like, yeah, someone like Harvey Weinstein should be taken down and shouldn't be allowed to work. They're
Yeah, and
clearly
should be put in
abusive.
prison forever.
Yeah, they're clearly
And there is a
not
line of things that's like, no, that's inexcusable. You're a piece of shit.
Yeah, but then we use the same punishment when you look at someone who, you know, like who goes down, and then there'll be like a story where it's, you know, a bad date, or a story where it's like, okay, well, I don't think that's quite the same as this, but then if you come out
Or
and
things get misconstrued, or like there are two sides, or whatever. And also, I think what's particularly difficult in our industry is that people really talk. And so, if there was a situation like that where the black and whiteness of it was kind of quite difficult to, and it had only happened once. I think when it's like a thing that there's a pattern, it's like, come on. But I think when it's just like a one incident that could have been just a big misunderstanding, then all the bookers hear about it, all of the different comedians hear about it, and then you're ostracized because it's all just becomes this lawless thing.
But then what
That's
to do
not a
about it?
defense of if you're a naughty boy, you should go down. That's what I think.
yeah, as well, like within our industry, I know of people who've probably been ostracized a little bit, and I think so a lot of the
Can
time.
you be a little bit ostracized?
Yeah,
Isn't the
well,
word
I mean-
implying?
Yeah.
A little bit ostracized, as in their name is like, oh, I don't know, and people don't know the whole picture and stuff, and then it's usually like, hey, did two people in their 20s who are both clearly quite mentally ill start dating? And was it an absolute
Yeah,
fucking
car
shit show?
crash. Yeah,
because
yeah.
they're two people in their 80s or 20s
Yeah,
who are
yeah.
mentally ill. They shouldn't not ever work again in
Yeah.
the industry, you know. And I think that's, you know, that. And I've had like comics drag, not nothing to do with that, but I've had like comics drop my names in a fucking book. Like quote things that I've said on podcasts in a way to throw shade at me and stuff,
Really?
and like, you know, things like that happen to you. It's like it is an odd, but they're also, I said it on a podcast, they're allowed to quote it like it is, you know.
It's in the public domain.
It is. I mean, God knows I've not learnt my lesson and continued.
But this
to.
is the scary thing about is that I have talked so much shit on everyone's podcast, and if one day things start being successful for me, I'm probably fucked.
Nah.
You think you are. It's never the thing, I think, with this stuff that you think it's gonna be. It's never like you do a bit.
The smaller things.
It's
Yeah.
It'll be like the
won't be-
CCT footage of you putting a cat in a bin.
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
catch you
yeah,
up.
yeah.
It won't be like I've like done jokes on this podcast about Holocaust, things like that. Never, no one gives a fuck. The minute I complain about Liverpool Football Club or
Right.
Crystal Palace
You're
Football
done.
Club, I'm in trouble. Like the minute, like I always say, nobody is more triggered in this cancel culture war thing than white men who support football teams. They are, if you attack their football team, they're
Yeah.
fine with transphobia, misogyny, all of this stuff.
It
Which,
doesn't involve them.
yeah,
But at their territory, if you come into
That's
that,
where they put all their emotions in.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
it's a very tribal thing.
it is. It is. Do you follow football much?
No, but my boyfriend's very into it, so I sort of can't escape it. I'm like in football purgatory most of the time.
Right.
Like I know stuff about it, but it's all against my
What's
will.
his team?
Manchester United.
Okay.
Okay,
So
yeah,
he
that's
suffered.
he's not going to be having a good time in a minute, is he?
They're doing okay, but let's not talk football too much. Hey, fella.
But my girlfriend is the same thing. Darcy, like I bring her to football matches. Sometimes she gets into it.
He was on Match of the Day.
Oh yeah,
I saw you on Match of the Day.
Were you?
yeah. I was
Congratulations.
celebrating.
Yeah. It was
I have a
actually.
really weird. Okay, this is so I have a kind of a dilemma at the moment where my boyfriend plays football like every weekend and always invites me to the matches.
You plays for Man United?
No,
Are you dating Harry Maguire?
no, but I do find him handsome in a sort of quite terrifying way.
Harry Maguire.
Like he's got a quite melancholic
caveman.
handsomeness to him. Yeah, like
Yeah.
a like the way that his brow bone sticks out is like he's got this Neanderthal.
He's a very sad man.
Yeah, which I find really hot.
He's got that
You
mix.
know what I mean?
He's got
I'm
that
like,
mi-
you're what a lost little boy.
I
but
could
with
fix-
so much talent.
I could fix him.
Yeah, I could fix him if you gave me some of your wealth. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, you poor man.
I could fix him. Just keep a high line. Just stop.
I think there's
I want a
something
Hermes
about-
bag.
Yeah, there's something about I want a Birkin. There's something about his face that is like it's so sad how pale he is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I don't want him to ever take off his shirt after scoring a goal because like we'd be able to see his organs. Like it's you know.
What do
He must save so much money on like MRIs and shit if anything goes wrong because you can just see it. You know.
Yeah.
The spleen is there, and we didn't ask to see it, but it is there.
What do you think of like on like the basis of like power of attraction stuff? Like Rishi Sunak is probably now the most powerful person in the country, but he's still very much 5'4".
6.
5 foot.
5'6". I like that you came to his defense.
Yeah.
I don't
He's a
take off
short
2 inches.
king. Come on. Maybe he's 5'6" in his little shoes, his polished little shoes.
He's those are like Gucci.
But the thing
Gucci
is,
loafers.
yeah, they are Gucci. But his wife makes him look tall because I guess his wife is like 2'1".
Yeah.
I only found out
5'5".
he's 5'5". He lost an
5'5".
inch.
5'5.7 to be specific.
So
So
I'm
almost
5'4", and people tell me that I'm short.
Well, yeah. Then.
Shit.
They're
Yeah.
not wrong.
But I only found out he was 5'6" yesterday because I've never
He's
seen
not
him.
5'6". You didn't find out he was 5'6".
I found out he was
You found 5'5". The information has just been given to you.
I rounded up, man.
That would be 6 foot.
I do find it baffling though that like so much more funding gets put into like men's health in general,
Right, yeah.
globally. Why is there not an option for people to get plastic surgery to make them taller?
There is.
Is there?
I think they break your legs and then they add more legs to.
You're just out of work for 6 months because you've got to wait for your
But
legs.
it's a thing.
You can add a couple inches to you, yeah.
But why is it not mainstream? Because it's dangerous.
You started to, I suppose it's like BBLs or anything like that where people have to go to Turkey and things like that.
Right,
Because they won't do
okay.
BBLs in this country because that's too dangerous.
Where did they get the stuffing from?
What, for BBLs?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Elsewhere on your body.
I really like your thighs.
Yeah, so there's a rumor that the reason that Robert Kardashian is so fat is because they use him to like harvest his fat.
Is he the BBL source?
Yeah.
Hey, is
Wait.
that an actual
Yeah,
rumour?
that's a rumor. But you
there
know
any-
what's really fucked up?
I can believe it.
I love it. I love like that we have transfer rumours. And whenever
yeah.
you look into the world of women,
This is also kind of a transfer rumor, but it's transferring of like fat.
it's like,
Fat cells.
it's like, you know, when you just look into a world and you're like, what the fuck is this?
Do you know what? I didn't doubt. I believe it.
Yeah.
I started watching the Kardashians because I got
Really?
Disney and my missus comes over and watches it. And she'd have it on, and now I'm like slowly getting it. Well, I'm like,
But you know
Kendall's
what's-
at Rome Fashion Week this
Yeah,
week. Is
yeah,
she going to
yeah.
cope with the pressure?
You know what's so fucked up is that Kanye's mum died of a BBL on the operating table.
Was it a BBL?
Yeah, I think it was a BBL.
Did she?
Yeah. But you know what's so fucked up is she basically died being the victim of the kind of body image standard that his wife made a thing.
That's a dissertation. That's a dissertation right there. Let's write it.
Wow.
what I mean?
It comes full circle.
Like, isn't that kind of fucked up when you think about it?
I wouldn't feel comfortable if my mum went and got a BBL, you know.
I don't think she got a BBL.
I think it was
Because she was
a
in her
BBL.
60s. Why would you
No, it
in your
was a
60s be like, I need ass. I need ass in my 60s.
Maybe that's precisely when you need it, you know?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Have you seen Kris Jenner, bro? You would not believe she's 70.
She's 70.
Yeah. And she is under a lot of lighting and like literally
Yeah.
people follow her around with lights, but like she looks good for and
She does
she
look
doesn't look like that plastic surgery 70 either.
Well, but it's because you say that it's because she has got plastic surgery. The reason she doesn't look all fucked up is because she hasn't gotten loads of filler and Botox.
right.
So most celebrities are scared of going under the knife and getting like facelifts and nose
Like that
jobs and shit.
model did, who was in Vogue, Evangeline.
Yeah, Linda Evangelista, who fucked up her whole.
See, I know
Did
stuff.
she fuck up her face?
She
Fucked up her face. She gained loads of weight, and then she was on the cover of Vogue, being like, "I'm reclaiming my body."
and they pinned her face back.
Yeah, and it all went wrong. You can get a picture of Linda Evangelista.
Let's see Linda
up.
Evangeline.
But she hides her face pretty well.
I find this
Before
so-
and before and
It'll
after.
probably
Do you
be on
find this
that.
interesting?
I find it fascinating because like the world of women's because like this is one of the things I was going to lead into, but
Yeah.
like it's insane because I think it's a thing. If I give my complete honest opinion on it, I think it's a thing that men a lot of the time get the blame for, but a lot
Yeah,
of the
but
time
I
it's
think it's women doing it for other women.
Yeah, it's
I
like
think
men don't
actually
give a fuck.
Men are quite thick and just sort of absorb the beauty standard that's around them.
yeah,
And if it changes, yeah, that's what she looks like these days.
bro.
It's like an ordinary woman.
What
Then
one?
Google
wait,
her when she was a supermodel, like in
Yeah.
the 90s.
let's see her as a. She don't look. She just looks like a cartoon cat. She looks like one of those
She
things.
just looks like a normal like mum, but she was like a supermodel, and she was one of the people that was responsible for upholding and perpetuating like very extreme beauty standards.
Is
and,
she
like, heroin
responsible for that?
shit. Well, she was one of the people in that operation.
She's
yeah.
she's just part of the system like everyone else.
Yeah, part of the system, but now she's a victim of the system.
Damn.
Well,
And do you know what's funny? Whenever you see like the people,
I reckon I could have done a better face. I reckon I could have. I reckon
But
if they
what did
gave
they
me,
lift?
yeah, I
Do you
reckon
know?
if they gave me a go, I reckon I could have done it.
Yeah.
They staple your face back, don't they?
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
what they do. Yeah.
when you look at like the guys in charge of
I will watch myself all day on that, Lucas. Sorry, I'm such a narcissist.
when you look at the guys in charge of the fashion houses and stuff like that, they're just like they'll be like fat guys, balding guys,
Yeah.
and they're in charge of like
And
deciding
yet they
beauty
can
standards.
see like a model and be like, "You're fat."
Yeah.
And she's like 7 stone.
Yeah. What do you think of the Kardashianification of society? You know, everyone wants that same face on social media and
Yeah, I think
Kardashianification.
I've been so absorbed by it because I started watching the Kardashians when I was probably 12,
Wow.
Oh, fuck
and
yeah.
I
How
was
old are you now?
like, I'm 24
Wow. They've been on for 12 years?
at least. Yeah, I reckon.
Crazy.
So I've really grown up alongside that. And I think in a way it was probably quite good for me as like I grew up, I went to a school where like there were like everyone was super blonde, super skinny, and like anorexia was very much a contagious thing that was
trendy.
happening at my school. And the Kardashians were sort of a beacon of light in that sense because they were like curvier and they had like darker features and whatever else. And so in a way I sort of like was like, oh, that's quite nice that that's like a fashionable look.
Yeah.
But I think as it's gone on, it's so fucked to see how it's morphed into this thing that like, I mean, I feel like when I was growing up, I kind of felt like, oh, I'm the most modern person ever, like absorbing all this stuff. And now you look at what 2-year-olds can do on iPads and you're like, shit.
Yeah, I worry. We were talking about outside, like I do think if I was in secondary school now, if I was like 12, I would not be able to walk because of all the nos I'd have done,
Yeah,
and
and
my lungs
vaping.
would have exploded because of the vaping.
What's
Like,
the nos?
Watermelon
What's
bubblegum.
yeah,
flavour.
you are
What's
too
nos?
pure for this world, Mike.
Nos is actually great.
It's so much fun.
Have you not done it?
Lucas, you know about nos, don't you?
Have you not done it?
What the fuck is nos?
Balloons,
You know, you see
Nitrous
those little
oxide.
silver canisters on the like.
the smart gas, the smart whips. Now they have
Well,
them.
like
Yeah.
balloons. I know terms. Just say balloons.
Yeah,
Nos.
nos.
That was around when we were kids.
Yeah, but it wasn't to the extent that it's around now. Because you
We
used
all
to,
think that, though.
it used to be a pain in the arse because you used to have to get the canister and you'd have to order it online. Whereas now you get the smart whip that you can just and that
And it's like a very short high.
yeah.
I've done it. Okay, kids in trouble.
Yeah, I was saying as well. I did coke for the first time in ages on the weekend, man.
Oh, really?
Oh, it was fucking yeah.
Was good?
No, it was great. But I'm now like,
But now give a disclaimer for the kids that are listening about the, the negatives.
just, don't do it. But if you can, what a night.
You do it, get the pure Colombian
It's
stuff.
also like it's one
Don't
of
get the
those
step on
attractive
shit.
things to me because I'm like a really sleepy drunk.
Right. Oh, that is the thing with coke is it just keeps you sober. Yeah. And I still think MDMA is like the best of the best drugs. Like it's the best one.
Never done it.
You've never done MDMA? That's the one.
Scared.
I don't
I'm
want to.
scared.
Talking of drugs, I was reading a study this week.
Oh, you fucking nerd.
I know. I'm sorry. It was talking about psychedelics, man. It's going to become the new weed in terms of acceptability, and they're trying to
Really?
introduce that
Yeah.
now into like, and I think that's a good thing.
So what's that like LSD?
LSD and mushrooms, just in terms of like curing depression and sadness and things
What are the
like
side
that.
effects of LSD? Is there like a come down?
No.
Probably fucks your brain a little bit, but it'd be less
If
sad.
you do too much of it, you'll be fucked. But there's people who've done like there's loads of good things that things like mushrooms and LSD have done. I've done LSD quite a few times.
Do you think it's bad that as a society we need to be medicated just to get by? You know, look at the weed and
You're drinking a
Right.
Yeah, I
Pepsi.
don't think it's. I think it's the. It's like a plaster over
yeah.
a larger wound that is society.
I disagree. I think like things like mushrooms. We've done mushrooms since the dawn of time. That's like stoned ape theory that we've all been doing mushrooms
Keep bringing up stone
because it's like it basically
Yeah.
used creativity and that
What that there was a big jump in brain development, and it's. But I've heard that that's been debunked.
probably. But but
That's-
it's still
it's fun though, isn't it?
It's the same way like weed smokers used to have to go. There's medicinal purposes to marijuana.
yeah.
Yes, I'm sure there is. You're smoking it to get stoned. You're not smoking it for the medicinal purpose. You should be allowed to get stoned the same way you don't have to go You know, like I've just done there. Mushrooms are a lot of fucking fun. I've not ever done them. I want to do them, but they're meant to be a lot of fun. People swear by them.
Yeah.
And that just because there's a few bad instances, like people crash cars, it doesn't mean you should ban all
You
cars.
should stop drinking at the wheel. You know what I mean?
Also, I think if they were to legalize it, it just means that like it eradicates a lot of black market shit and a lot of stuff that they put into the drugs to make it.
Yeah, like that's always the issue with like coke and ecstasy is what it's cut with.
But I guess I'm talking more like the idea that people need this to get by. Is that a sign that society's just beating us all up? Like, I need
that
to be high.
That we need like something so extreme to like feel relaxed.
People
and
can't be
feel-
sober just to get. We're not even
Also,
talking
it
about to
gives
be
you
happy.
that feeling like, oh, I'm happy to be alive.
Yeah.
And is we the only way that we can get that?
I love being stoned every now and then, like especially for this
I got
podcast.
stoned
But do you not feel like would you
was a
say if you
complete
felt like
accident.
if you felt like you needed it?
I know, but if I wasn't stoned right now because I'm excitable and my ADHD and stuff, right, I would just be talking all over everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Bella would go away and go, "That was just doing a bloke's podcast who talks over you."
I did that yesterday.
that is what
Is
yesterday's
this my
podcast.
life now? I'm just like,
That's like sometimes I've got to be like, no, I'm not. I'm not misogynist. I talk over everyone.
Yeah.
I'm bad at
you're just a prick
conversation.
in general. Yeah.
Okay, but like I get because I guess you say someone who has bipolar or something like that, they're medicated.
Yeah.
They
which is
need,
a
but
good
there
thing.
shouldn't be a stigma towards
Yeah,
that.
there are loads of people on like SSRIs and shit, which is completely normalized, like antidepressants.
Okay, yeah.
Do you think that? I think now, like we, like with therapy language and stuff, we use that.
Therapy language?
Yeah, like the word like boundaries and
think that's
Yeah, and
English
I think we've almost weaponized that like therapy language against, and I think also like there's a really weird tension between using that language and actually in order to like make everyone feel happy, and it being super inaccessible because like I can't afford therapy.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like all of my friends do it, so I'm like when they're talking to me about to actually know what boundaries and all have that emotional toolbox or whatever of all that vocab and terms, like you actually have to be quite wealthy.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. And I also think as well with it, I think like the whole point of therapy is you're meant to go there and be like, here's my childhood, but also here's things that I do where I'm in the wrong and why
Yeah,
I'm an
yeah,
arsehole.
yeah.
A lot of people go in there and they're like, Mike
My
didn't.
dad did.
Yeah, and they don't actually go. Here's why I'm.
A good therapist will help you see that though, just from listening.
Yeah.
Point out patterns, and then it's up to you to imply that to your life.
Have you been to therapy?
I saw one for like one session a couple months ago, but then I was like,
And they quit. They were like,
yeah,
absolutely.
I'm out of this shit. But I was like, oh no, I'm like pretty perfect. Like,
Also, you do a lot of shit to get by every day. Like you do meditation and
yeah, I journal a bit.
yeah, I journal. That helps.
I think it helps you.
Also, I
just
think if you're just like reasonably emotionally intelligent, you can figure a lot of your own shit out.
Yeah, my girlfriend had to show me a lot of stuff because I used to be very punch a drywall.
Sure.
Like
okay.
I used to be really fucking.
I once had I was seeing this guy in like at school. We had an argument at a house party, and he just was so upset he started banging his head against the wall like at the party, and I was just like, this is so embarrassing.
Did you get the ick? Well,
Yeah, I was like, oh my god.
he started banging his head against the wall. How old is he?
Yeah, like 17.
Oh gosh.
It
no.
wasn't the
So you know,
vibe.
because some
Lucas,
girls
you
they,
have a
they
very
like.
bang your head against the wall vibe. I ain't
What
gonna
does
lie.
that mean?
You have a very like party smack your head against the wall.
Nah, Lucas probably was like a little emo kid.
Yeah, but that's the
Yeah.
one.
Turn around and die. Turn-
My parents don't understand me. I hate this town.
I get that vibe. I get that vibe.
Yeah, that was me.
Do you ever like? Did you see an appeal in like saving a guy? You see a guy and it's like, oh, I can. You're talking about Harry Maguire.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that that's where I went wrong with a lot of my relationships, a lot of them. And not that I've had that many, but like I do tend to think, oh, and that coincides with like low self-esteem because you kind of think, oh, this is the person that I can get. But what I can do is I can become both their girlfriend and their mum.
Yeah.
And I can get satisfaction from nurturing them, which I do. Like I always cook for my boyfriend, and then I'm like, sometimes if I'm PMSing, I suddenly get this like like volcanic rage inside of me that I've cooked him a meal,
Yeah.
and I'm like, you don't fucking
What
like,
would Bell Hooks think about this?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's my instinct, and I enjoy engaging with my instincts of like cooking and.
It's a love language.
Yeah, exactly. But when it's not like appreciated in the way that I want it to be,
I guess if
I'll go off.
you're doing a nice thing so consistently, someone's like, oh, just expect this.
Yeah, exactly.
No, never expect.
But my missus, when she's PMSing, is I literally have to wait 5 days and go.
Yeah.
You were on your hormones all over the fucking place.
But you can't say that. You can't.
No,
say
I know. Even though it's absolutely what's happening.
But if she says it, you can be like, Like the other day. Okay, so this weekend.
Oh, yes, I may have noticed that.
Yeah, I just thought you liked looking at the plates in different pieces on the floor. Like
I was such a cunt to my boyfriend this weekend for various reasons, but nothing was his fault. It was just like my life was feeling blur. And I made cookies, and he just ate one and didn't thank me. And
It was
my
still
face
chewing
was
it.
just like this. Like I was just like, and he was like, what?
yeah.
And this is the thing. This is what gets him so infuriated, because he's like, like what? I can't read your mind. Why are you suddenly so emotional in such a nuanced way? And I'm like, because you're thick.
Yeah.
Yeah. My missus does the same thing. Like I do you get quite huffy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, you should know why I'm annoyed.
Yeah, my missus, I do it as a bit now. My missus, we were walking back through Shepherd's Bush one time, and there was like 13 roadmen outside KFC there, and we were the only, like, basically I'm there with like a blonde white girl walking through the area, and I'm like, we're crossing the road now before anything is fucking said. Like, and she gave me the whole, you're judging them because of their thing.
Could have been a flash mob.
And I was trying to go to her, what are the outcomes? Like, and she was giving me the cold shoulder and stuff. I had to get out of her, and she was just basically, because she moved to London, she was trying to call me racist, right?
Yeah.
And I was going, what are our outcomes? We either walk by and get a pat ourselves on the back and be like, what a lovely bunch of liberals we are, or I went to her, how good are your fighting skills? Because it's me who's going to get my head kicked in.
I get into fights with people on the road.
Really, do you?
Yeah.
You shouldn't do that.
Don't do
I
that.
shouldn't do that. And especially if I'm like catcalled or something, I will, if I'm in the wrong headspace.
Do you ever have that thing where you're walking and people just don't move out the way?
Yeah, I had that thing. So a few months ago, I was like catcalled on the road, and this guy was like, it was out of his car. I'm pretty sure he was like an Uber driver. And I was already in a shit mood just because of the moon. And
Sometimes it's in the wrong place, guys.
so sometimes it's in the wrong place. And this guy catcalled me so hard and honked his horn that I dropped my phone and cracked the screen on my phone. And I picked it up, and he saw what had happened, and he laughed. And then he got into like traffic, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And I blacked out. Well, I was so angry, but I had gotten out my keys and I had keyed his car.
Yeah, good.
And I just went like that. And then he didn't even say anything to me. He was just speechless. And I was like,
Yeah, good. Fuck him.
bye.
Round of applause for the key in the car.
But yeah, this is the thing. And then I told my boyfriend, being like, he's going to tell me I'm amazing. And he was like, you shouldn't do things
you
like
could've died
that.
there.
I have this with like my missus when she's moved here and stuff, is I'm like, do not underestimate how fucking people do not give a shit
Yeah.
about smacking someone in the face. And like I've had this with my missus had a friend who would like on nights out go out and get in arguments with guys, and I was like, look, if anything kicks off, I'll jump in, but I'm gonna let her get hit first, just so she fucking learns the lesson of you can't, that sounds brutal, but you're gonna you talk shit to people. It's just a thing that like it's the thing, the reason like guys victim blame a lot of the time, and we shouldn't do it, is because guys get victim blamed. So if like as a guy I go, oh, I was walking through this estate and these guys jumped up and beat me and took my phone, so people go, why would you walk through there at that time?
Right,
like
yeah.
that's put on you as a guy, as a very young thing, that you've got this.
That's almost the equivalent of like, well, why were you wearing that?
Yeah. And it shouldn't be the victim's fault. It should be like, that fucking sucks that there's a group of people who do that, and we can
And
get to
that's
the
normal.
Yeah, and there should be why the society looks at it that. But like with the key in the car thing, and like when my missus has talked about like she's yelled at people and stuff, I'm like, look, I don't get it, but I have an inkling of what it's like. Don't underestimate how quickly a situation can spiral. And you say it, do you know what? Like, I fucking got punched in the face one time in Bromley because I
got my ears pierced in Bromley.
I've had no life experience there.
These people were kicking off. I didn't even say anything to that. I said something to a mate. One of them like turned around, thought I was talking to them, and I was suddenly surrounded, and one of them just boom blasted me in the fucking face. And luckily I didn't drop.
Yeah.
And then they just sort of sent me on my way. And
But I think a lot of people are like
gentlemen.
very angry in life because of just reasons.
Life.
And anger is a very difficult thing to control. And also I like grew up with one particularly like aggressive parent.
right.
And I read somewhere once that's like, if there was an angry man in your house when you were a child, there will always be an angry man in your house.
Oh shit. Okay.
And I thought that was really...
Are you talking about the metaphorical house?
Yeah, the metaphorical house
Not-
of like your body and your
Okay.
life. So either
His name's on the mortgage.
so either you'll date someone that's an angry man, or you will be really angry, or like there will always be that anger will always stay with you, and you have to accept that it's there and be able to deal with it. And when I read that, I was like, "Fuck, that's so true."
Yeah, I'm trying to like unlearn bits of my childhood that I thought were normal because I had a mum with BPD, so like that's my but like I used to be from the ages of about 20 to 23, I was actually quite misogynist because of it.
Yeah.
Which and it's actually quite hard for, I think, like one thing that I'm always quite envious of women is like, it's fine if a woman grows up with a bad father figure because they're allowed to like hate men or say so, like
Kind of trash.
yeah. Whereas like as a guy, if you grow up without a mother figure, you're not allowed. You're not allowed that same.
You can't generalize that in the same way. It looks so worse. Yeah.
Yeah, and I get it. It's because like men will kill you. Like men are, the men resort to violence and they lash out in different ways. But I find it like, trying to unlearn those bits of the childhood is actually really, really difficult to do. But
Yeah.
when you understand it and stuff, it's a little bit more, and I've made my peace with it. Like, I go around and see my mum once every 2 weeks, and I just sort of sit there and watch Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
And just sit in their
But
company.
that's like,
Dealing with it at all.
It balances out your conscience a bit, and you're just like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing it as like, it means a lot because she feels bad that we don't have the relationship that she wants, and it's through no fault of her own.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think
And that takes a lot. That's a very brave thing to learn as well.
yeah, it's not her.
It's so easy to blame someone.
It's amazing. It does amaze me though, BPD, that it only affects white women. What a disease that it's only
And
able,
Kanye.
only able to affect
Kanye.
white women in Kanye West.
White women and Kanye West are the main victims. Oh, that's a really interesting chat. I don't really have any mental illness stories. I wish I could get involved.
Mike, but your mental illness is nerdy. It's not cool. Your mental illness is just.
Elliot
When
keeps
you
trying
spiral, how do you spiral? Is it in or out?
to. What's spiraling in? What would spiraling in?
Spiraling in. So I feel like I do both. So
What
I feel like
would
if
it
I
look
had
like?
isolating yourself, like going into like your own mind palace where you're like inaccessible to other people to communicate with.
I'll listen to a lot of Drake where he's talking about fuck the haters, and I'll
Yeah.
just pretend to be Drake in the camera.
That's quite like
They don't
sweet.
fucking
There's
know.
something quite vanilla about that.
Yeah, just keep it. What about you?
Yeah, I do both. So occasionally I'll key someone's car, but normally.
By the way, that's a great opening scene of your comedy drama series.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know why I said thank you to Elliot,
No,
but
sorry.
yeah. He was like a one body.
It was just. That was just very like. That was weirdly racist.
It's indicative of society, actually. It's a microcosm right there. Microcosm right there.
Yeah, it is probably quite a good scene. Yeah, I don't know. I think I go inwards.
Go inwards. Yeah.
I go outwards a lot. I once, there's been times in my life where, I don't know, I had it here on the weekend actually. I nearly got into a fucking, like, I have to be very careful with getting into physical altercations. Like, because I'm a fucking asshole, like, and I will.
You're easily provoked.
100%. But because where I grew up in Fulton Heath, I myself, I'm quite middle class. It was quite a violent area, and one thing that I really have to unlearn is that any sign of aggression or stepping to you isn't immediately let's fucking fight, and that's
Sure.
a really hard thing to unlearn.
Yeah, it's probably linked to your hormones and shit.
Yeah, so and it's immediately like this is a threat. So and I was coming in here on Sunday night. I fucking let me just make this clear. If you want to have a fun time, come to Vauxhall. The comedy here is good. The food is good. All of that stuff.
Why are you prefacing?
Because the security guard here, yeah, there was a queue of people. I went to come in. What was that? Oh, I thought that was big. So, there was a queue of people. I went like we spoke about in last week's pod. I sort of went to go around the queue. I'm not.
Because you're
the comedy-
VIP.
I'm not. I don't think this is a dicky thing. I'm
You're
not.
an act.
I'm not. I'm an
I'm
act.
not scum.
Yeah.
I do
I'm
that as well,
important.
and it's always awkward explaining to the security guards that you're a comedian, because if they're like in one of those moods, they'll be like, "Oh, tell me a joke, or I won't let you in," and I'm like, "Just let me in."
Yeah.
I don't
my
even say what. I
job.
just point to the poster.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And it's a different black
Yeah,
act.
yeah.
But they're too scared.
It's for me. Yeah.
But I was coming in. I was like, oh, I'm an act, and I went to walk, and he grabbed me, and I turned around, and then like I was like, don't fucking grab me, innit? Like, and then he's tried to. This is what fucked me off the most. He tried to like give me a stare down, like stare into my eyes, and I was like, are you fucking like in my head? I was like, are you fucking mad? Like, are you mad? Like, you're not doing this to me, bro.
But
I
then
don't-
out loud, you said, "I'm sorry." I'll go.
No, I was like, I just stared, but like, I was like, you get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And I went in, and then I did the adult thing of complaining to his boss.
To the manager. You spoke to the
But-
manager.
But in that moment, I left actually quite embarrassed with myself because I went in, not because of what I did, but because when I went and complained to like Phoebe and Mooch and stuff, I was actually like quiet. I had to go buy a box of cigarettes and go chain smoke because
Had to calm down.
I had to calm down.
French.
And
Maybe it was an adrenaline dump.
it wasn't a, yes, what you learned, yes. Yeah, an adrenaline dump. An adrenaline dump you get when you like have a fight, like your body just dumps adrenaline immediately.
I've never had a fight. So.
Yeah. But yeah, so and like when I do things like that, I always sort of look back at like my childhood and stuff and be like, you're just
You
displaying
learned that then. and
you're just
yeah.
displaying the same fucking
Comes
thing.
from a place of not wanting to be disrespected or seen as weak, and it takes you back to that thing. And you're like, I'm a big boy now.
But I would also argue, is that necessarily a bad thing?
No.
Like, because one of the traits of like masculinity that I was brought up with was that you have to not have that happen. You have to be, and there's probably a better way I could deal with it, but he was immediately very disrespectful. So like to me, what I probably should do is warrant a level of respect, I guess, but I find it difficult to do that in those situations.
Yeah. You guys, you handled your disrespects in a very direct way.
Yeah.
In cars, staring a man down.
I like that.
I was writing my journal.
I really like.
I write in my journal too.
I write an alternate history about what I did.
Yeah.
So
Then what-
someone finds you, they think you're cool.
It's like, he's such a
Yeah,
badass,
we
man.
think you're like just writing in your journal, but then we realise you're like gone girl.
Yeah.
You're framing someone for your murder.
I love it. Yeah, I do have the thing is as well as like comedians are mental. Like I saw like I always have like there's a. Do you ever see an act on stage? There was an act on one time and she was complaining about arguments with her boyfriends, and in each one of the jokes, I was just like, "You are clearly the fucking issue here.
Yeah.
Like you are such the issue here. He sounds
Nice.
perfectly reasonable,
Yeah.
and you're the problem."
Yeah, but then I think a lot of the time you just want someone to spar with, you know? You just want an opponent.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
They're there. And that's what I do. And then it goes in circles and then he's fine.
Is your boyfriend quite level-headed? He sounds like he
He's
just plays football and stuff.
so level-headed. He's so mentally okay.
Do you know what I was thinking? You know, we're talking about like women saving men. That's like a thing. You never really hear about men saving women.
Yeah, dude, save a hoe.
Nah, that's not really a thing. Like, oh, you never, no guy.
That's what it's called.
That sounds like a charity.
Yeah, you save a hoe.
Oh, I donate to the McDonald's for that.
I'll give money to save a hoe.
Save money to save a hoe.
Save a hoe.
Round up for save a hoe.
No, you never hear like a guy going to his boy. Oh man, this girl, she's a mess. She's unemployed. You know what I mean? I can't.
Yeah,
I wanna.
no, there's just...
Be-
Maybe if we had like better father figures in society,
Yeah.
then it would be more of a thing.
Guys do try to do that. You do hear something like it's one of those things that's slightly. I don't want to go all fucking incel
But
about
that's
it.
like maybe what like a sugar daddy is in a way.
Yeah.
But in exchange for shitting on chests, so it's not really a
What?
fair exchange. That's what sugar daddies do.
No,
In Dubai,
In Dubai,
you never heard about this.
I heard about the Dubai story.
Sometimes guys, the women, they fly women out to Dubai, all expenses paid.
Yeah.
In exchange, they're like, I want to shit on your chest.
They want to shit on the woman's chest.
Yeah.
How much money?
50K.
Oh, I do that.
Yeah.
I do that.
She wrote, it was a very harrowing account of what happened.
Yeah.
But when the price was said, it was like,
Look,
I would
people
need
gotta pay their rent. You know?
tax-free 50K
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
You don't
I
have
would
to-
need
We are in a
screenshots.
recession.
Imagine having to go to your accountant. When does 50K? Yeah, you got to give 30% of that
Charity,
to the government.
charity rampage. Yeah, I would need a screenshot of like his stool samples
Right, a screen-
across the year,
I
so
don't
I
want
know
a picture.
what
A
like
screenshot of the analysis.
of his yearly stool samples.
I couldn't do it, bro. I got someone asked me on Insta one time to send them my socks, and I had to delete the homophobic reply that I had like in the fucking drafts. That was like, if you fucking
Find it icky.
don't
I'd censor. Who you hurting?
don't be no, for money. Don't be fucking coming in my DMs asking for my socks, bro.
for money?
For nah, man. Get
Yeah,
the
I'm sorry about that,
I
man.
have
I
a
want
friend.
to.
I have a friend who's made money from pictures of her feet.
I know. I've got yeah. I know a couple sex workers, like legit sex workers and stuff. I have no issue
Legit
with
ones.
it, but like and that's not the way everyone's gonna. But like, you know, some people go. But I'm very cool with like sex work, things like that. Fine, whatever. But I don't come into my DMs.
Oh shit!
Freaky.
Philosopher of the week.
Philosopher of the week.
Philosopher of the week.
We got philosopher of the week.
We got philosopher of the week. We have a philosopher
Okay.
of the week.
It's our philosopher of the week.
Have you picked it?
We've picked
we just said I just went to see how many times we were going to say it before.
because I was thinking of stool samples and it's kind of related to that,
Right. Okay.
but not directly.
Yeah,
God, I'm
so we have
wondering
this
who it
section where
is.
somebody says something that we think is worthy of being a B-Tech philosopher, someone who comes out with a bit of B-Tech dumb philosophy. And this week,
To watch it together.
I'd love to watch.
You may have already
this
seen
week
this.
it is this guy.
If I put the seat up to urinate and then put it down after I'm done, at your request, that is 2 seat repetitions per urinary event. This arrangement means that if you go into the bathroom, you can just sit down and urinate and leave with 0 seat repetitions per urinary event. Would it not then be a fair and equitable marriage arrangement, creating a scenario where we are both responsible for only 1 seat repetition per urinary event? And she's gone.
But there's issue with that because what he's suggesting is every time you piss, you put the seat up for
Yeah.
me, and every time I piss, I put it down. What if he needs a shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not.
And what
first
if
of all,
one
it's-
person's,
I don't have a
Or water.
vagina, but my pussy dried up watching that. Man. That was insane. Like,
what?
I just can't.
there's nothing deep enough where you need to use the term urinary event. I don't think there's any situation
Like,
deep
you know
enough.
that they're being called females, you know?
Yeah,
It's so
It's a
like.
repetition as well. It's like, what in the...
that marriage is not gonna last.
Imagine adding the music to that.
Yeah.
like you,
That's like, that's music from... what's it
the
called?
XX.
Yeah.
Like, imagine.
Oh yeah, this fits here.
Like people think they're being so profound when they say, like, if that's as men, if that's what our argument is,
But then I
it's
can't
done.
believe that that's for real. Is that real?
Yeah, it's for
You can
real.
see
It's
her
for
face,
real.
like, I think they're in a relationship.
It's genuinely.
Poor
It was genuinely.
lady, but also she probably wanted to save him.
She's regretting that marriage, man.
That's that guy who's trying to, like, they overthink alpha maleness
Yeah.
and they apply it to like everything.
If you're a judge and you see that, you gotta give her full custody.
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
Yeah.
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 There is no way but how does your life get to the point? Like, imagine, like, we have a podcast. Imagine we'd brought you on today and we're like, if my wife doesn't put the toilet seat up.
Also, like saying urinary repetitions as if it's a thing.
Yeah.
Urinary event. He made up that term.
He just made it
Seat
up.
repetition
You could've just
urinary
said-
event.
Going for a piss.
Yeah. Yeah, that is our.
He calls it a marriage arrangement.
A
as
marriage
well,
arrangement.
rather than just a marriage.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
that guy, that's one of those guys, he's like, hey, why are you wearing makeup if we're together? Oh, the
Yeah. Or like if you're pregnant, are you looking to get
Imagine
fucked
that,
again?
like-
You know,
is that
people do that
Ugh.
to like pregnant women.
really?
Men
There's some
are
savages out there, isn't there?
Like, do you get married to someone and you find out they're like that dumb.
But the
Oh,
thing
then
is,
that's
like,
your fault.
How many years do you think it takes for that side of someone to come out?
That's the thing. You can hide it.
And what if you go out with someone and they're great for 4 years and then suddenly it's that and you're like, well, I just gave you my best.
That's why you can't get married, man. Just can't get married.
Yeah, that is always like. I wonder how long it's going to take me to come that guy, because the path's
Do you think
there.
it's
And,
gonna happen?
oh, the path's there.
That man is self-actualized. You know?
Yeah, he is. I think I want to be at the point. There's going to be a very clear split on this podcast one day where I'm going to be replaced, and my bit of the podcast is going to come from a shed, and it's going to be about that. There's the toilet seat needs to be kept down,
Yeah.
and stop them coming over on a dinghy. That's the other part of the podcast.
That's always, yeah.
All you need is a hoop earring as well. Look.
Oh, what a fucking dweeb.
Oh no, I feel so upset.
Yeah, it's kind of gross.
That's how we like to end this podcast. We like people walking away feeling a little bit worse than when they came in.
It's been a really fun episode.
Been a lot of fun.
I've loved
enjoyed
it.
And what have you got going on? You've got a...
What have I got going on at the moment? I got my own podcast with Jacob Hawley called Last
I've done
Night
it.
Out, which Michael's been on. You should come on it.
Oh, what's it about?
It is basically comedians planning their last ever night out if they could only go out once more in their life.
Oh, can I guess Michael's?
What did I say?
I guarantee that yours was like, I'm going to go to a library.
No, okay.
I'm
No.
gonna- and then I'd sit there and listen to like some Coltrane.
I don't talk like that. I did say jazz bar.
It was a smooth episode.
It was smooth.
It's such an act.
I said we go watch Silk Sonic. You know, Bruno Mars, Anderson .Paak. Just want some
Right.
classy night.
Yeah,
Like a
yeah, yeah.
Vegas.
And you do this for the whole
Tuxedos
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you know,
tux.
yeah.
And then he would go
Moonshine.
to a monastery.
Yeah, I'd go to a monastery. So yeah,
A monastery,
yeah. Well, it's like after the night out, just get some purification.
but like a spa.
Yeah,
But like a silent
That's silent
monastery.
retreat.
So I wasn't far off with
No, you
Library
weren't.
to Silent
No,
Play.
you
You're pretty
weren't.
close, actually.
Yeah.
Now I think about it. But you have that podcast.
Got that podcast. I'm gigging. That's me, really.
People can find you at.
At Bella Bella Hull on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok.
So good, she said it twice. Bella Bella.
Thank you. And thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. We will now, because Lucas is our full-time producer as of today until we'll probably inevitably quit. Or just forget to turn up one day or so. I don't know. This is our first time I've ever been.
Before you guys get cancelled, yeah.
Yeah, we're not. I don't think we're going to get cancelled. We'll probably fall out before that happens.
Finances.
You don't have it in you to fall out with Elliot, but Elliot has it in him to fall out with you.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
100%. That is.
100%.
I take shit so personally and don't speak on it as well.
Yeah.
Like my-
You are the kind of person that would hold a grudge until you can't even remember what it's about. But
Oh,
you
no.
still know that you don't like them.
Do you know what was bad? The other day I was on the underground, yeah, like what you're saying, when people don't move, yeah. But I full turn into Nigel Farage.
Yeah.
Like if it's like a group of Spanish tourists,
Yeah.
I'm full on like, what has my country become? Like I can't.
But I'm the type who can see someone holding a grudge and just ignore it. I'll just.
Oh, drive me nuts.
Compartmentalize. You can pour the syrup in one square of the waffle
Yeah.
and keep the others. You are a pancake.
Yeah, I know I am. I'm a mess of a human being. But yeah, so this will now. So we'd like to welcome Lucas to our little podcast family that we got going on here.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, you sound thrilled.
I am.
And yes, if you enjoy it on the YouTube, leave a like or a comment. It helps with the algorithm.
Sign up to the Patreon as well. £3.50 a month. Got some good exclusive content. We speak unfiltered, raw.
It's getting a bit out of hand. We've had a few comments.
Too raw.
Yeah,
It's
no,
too raw for broadcast.
it is going
Too
to
many direct people's names being bitched about.
100%.
By one half of the table, yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't know. I don't have any
Do you ever
grudges.
bitch about your guests after they've been on?
No, but we generally only get people on that we really like. We
Plus, we record the Patreon before.
yeah.
Right, I see.
We last week, because we couldn't get anyone, we just didn't get it. We didn't get a guest on,
Right.
so we wouldn't have someone on that we didn't want, that we didn't want people to go find and thought were good and stuff as well.
Well, that makes me feel good.
Yeah. But thank you. This has been BTech Philosophers.